Yo, what's going on, everybody? Josh Destroys here, and I am back with a brand new build featuring the new exotic chest armor for Warlocks, the Rime-Coat Raiment. Let's talk about this really quick before we get into the build. This is featuring an armor perk called Bleak Domain. Your Bleak Watcher turrets are enhanced with extended range and are surrounded by stasis crystals and a storm. While standing in the storm, you are granted icicles over time. Icicles activate when you fire your weapons, applying slow to targets they hit. So we have a lot going on here, and let's just break it down really quickly. First and foremost, you're going to charge your grenade, you're going to throw it out, and you're going to get that amazing Bleak Watcher turret. This time though, it's enhanced, so you're getting extended range on it, and let me tell you, the range is something beautiful when you see it at work. The Bleak Watcher turret is also surrounded by stasis crystals. I believe it's spawning 4 or 5 stasis crystals, and in the middle of those crystals, there's a storm. Now, the stasis crystals are great because you can shatter them, causing AoE damage to enemies. This will also sometimes freeze enemies when you throw this down, but the stasis crystals are great to have there. And of course, you have what they're calling a storm in the middle. So if you stand in the middle of all this, you are granted something called icicles over time, and icicles activate when you fire your weapons, applying slow to targets they hit. So if you're just camping out in the middle of these stasis crystals, standing in the storm, and you're shooting at things, you're going to be applying slow to targets that you hit. Now, I want to tell you guys, the whole point of this build is not to have this crazy big mega DPS boss damage build. This is sort of a support build. This is going to help lock down the battlefield. It's going to freeze everything in and around you. It's going to make things 10 times easier for anyone else in your fire team. And like I said, I've been enjoying it, having a lot of fun using this. So let's go ahead and get into the nitty-gritty of the build. I'm using the Stasis subclass on this one. I was tempted to go with Prismatic, and honestly, I just couldn't put together the fragments in a way that made it work in my head. So I ended up going with Stasis, and I think leaning into a little bit more of the big, freezy, icy kind of Warlock fantasy thing. For our super, we're taking Winter's Wrath. Of course, this is our only choice here, and I have to be honest, this is probably my least favorite super in the game. However, it's the only option we have here, and when you're in a pinch, you can lock down the battlefield pretty decent with this thing. So again, we don't have options, so we're just going to go with Winter's Wrath, and you know, your mileage may vary with it. I'm not a huge fan. We're using Healing Rift for our class ability, and of course this comes in super handy when we throw down our Bleak Watcher turret. We've got those stasis crystals and we're standing in the storm. We can actually pop our Healing Rift right in the middle so that we can reap all the benefits of Rime-Coat Raiment and also have the survivability of a Healing Rift. So it's kind of a double whammy in that sense. We're using Penumbral Blast for our stasis melee. Of course, this is also our only option here. I'm sort of indifferent with this melee. However, if you don't like it, maybe just don't use it. I don't know what to say. We're taking Cold Snap Grenade for our stasis grenade. You could probably get away with using any grenade here. I like Cold Snap Grenade as the stasis grenade. It's the one that I use the most. It's the one that I know. So my pick here is Cold Snap Grenade. For our aspects, we're taking Glacial Harvest and of course Bleak Watcher. Bleak Watcher is going to tie directly into Rime-Coat Raiment, so we don't have many options on that one. Glacial Harvest I picked so that this can kind of tie into everything going on with our seasonal artifact. Now, this is going to freezing targets create stasis shards around the frozen targets. While Glacial Harvest is equipped, picking up stasis shards grants stacks of frost armor. So this is doing two things. Freezing targets are going to create stasis shards. When we pick up stasis shards, it's going to help restore our melee energy, but it's also going to grant us stacks of frost armor, which is going to play into the seasonal artifact and also just give us a little bit more survivability not using a prismatic subclass, because typically stasis was a pretty weak subclass in the past, and I think with them bringing frost armor in, there's definitely a little bit more survivability with it. Down below with my fragments, I'm taking Whisper of Fissures, which is increase the damage and size of the burst of stasis when you destroy a stasis crystal or defeat a frozen target. This is just kind of helping get maximum damage, maximum size of the burst of anything that we shatter, any stasis crystals or defeating any frozen targets. We're just having like mega stasis explosions every time we blow something up. We've got Whisper of Chill. Stasis weapon final blows have a chance to create a stasis shard. Now, I'm going to be honest again with this. You could probably go for a couple different ones here. You could swap that out for like Whisper of Rime. There's even an argument to be made about like Whisper of Rending. This is kind of up for you to decide. I like Whisper of Chill. I've been playing Whisper of Chill, but you can swap something out for this if you would like. Whisper of Shards, shattering a stasis crystal temporarily boosts our grenade recharge rate. So we want to be able to use our grenade and that Rime-Coat Raiment, the Bleak Watcher turret and all that stuff. We want to use that as much as humanly possible. So every time we shatter a stasis crystal, which we're going to have tons of stasis crystals and we're going to be shattering them, we're getting some grenade recharge rate. We're boosting that grenade recharge rate. So love this stasis fragment. Lastly, we're going with Whisper of Conduction. Nearby stasis shards track to our position. So again, every time we pick up a stasis shard, we get frost armor. We don't even need to necessarily now go find them. They're going to track to us, which is really nice. Let's talk about our armor mods now. There's nothing really fancy going on here. On the head, we've got a harmonic siphon, which is going to allow us to generate orbs of power with any rapid stasis weapon final blows. We're running Ashes to Assets, which we can gain bonus super energy on any grenade kills. So when we're using our grenade to put down the Bleak Watcher and everything, any kills that we're getting with that, we are going to gain bonus super energy. And we're also running Heavy Ammo Finder. Now, you could also slot in a Special Ammo Finder instead. Just kind of depends on the weapons that you're using. I do have a special, I'm using the Liturgy grenade launcher with this, but I don't really ever have any ammo economy issues. So I'm going with a Heavy Ammo Finder right here. On our gloves, we're running Harmonic Loader, which is going to increase the reload speed of stasis weapons so that we can just get our shots off quicker. So grenade launchers, machine guns, guns that typically have a low reload speed. This is going to help tremendously with that. We're also running 2 copies of Impact Induction, which is going to cause damage with a powered melee attack, reduces our grenade cooldown. So again, we're just playing into keeping our grenade cooldown super low. We are recharging that grenade as quickly as humanly possible. On our chest here, I typically run 1 Void, 1 Arc, 1 Solar Resist, but you can play with this depending on whatever activity you're doing and what kind of resist you need. On our boots, we are rocking a Stasis Weapon Surge, Innervation, and Stasis Holster. Stasis Holster is great because it gradually reloads your stowed stasis weapons over time. So anything that we're using, aside from like one-shot grenade launchers, this is going to reload those once they're stowed, and it's going to reload them over time, which is really, really great. So you're never kind of in a pinch going to maybe a heavy weapon and being like, oh my God, I got to reload. We've got a Stasis Weapon Surge on this to give all of our stasis weapons a little extra punch. And of course, Innervation, which is going to, again, reduce grenade cooldown every time we pick up an orb of power. On our class item, we're rocking 2 copies of Bomber, which is going to, again, reduce our grenade cooldown when using your class ability. And 1 copy of Powerful Attraction, automatically collecting nearby orbs of power when you activate your class ability. So we activate our class ability, we're automatically collecting nearby orbs, and we are also reducing our grenade cooldown. So again, we're just really feeding into everything that is allowing us to keep our grenade up as much as possible. For weapons here, you have some wiggle room. I'm going with Liturgy, which is the new grenade launcher for this season. This thing can roll with Chill Clip. It's a hard-hitting 2-shot, like it's a twin fire round. It's cool. I'm still kind of getting the hang of this thing, but when you hit with it, it hits like a truck, and it's a lot of fun to use. My second slot here, I've got Callus Mini Tool. Now, depending on what activity you're doing, you can swap this around. I love mixing kind of solar weapons with stasis weapons or freezing and ice and fire and that sort of thing. So for me, anything that has incandescent, I love in this slot. I could use Callus Mini Tool. We could go with No Hesitation, Nullify. We could even roll double special and go with a Baron Action. You have a lot of options here. And honestly, you could kind of put anything in here that you want, depending on what activity you're running. So this build has a little wiggle room when it comes to guns. With that being said, you don't have to do a special ammo grenade launcher in this kinetic slot. You could go for something like the new exotic grenade launcher, Alethinum, You could go with Vergless Curve. You could go with the Yarovit MG4. You could really kind of play into whatever you want this kinetic slot to be and kind of structure it out so that you're able to play into your champions or play into whatever activity you're actually doing. However, for our heavy slot, we are using the Salvation's Grip grenade launcher. Now, I've always wanted to have a build that uses this thing because I think that this thing is so underused in the game. This rolls with Cryo Cannon. This weapon's projectiles create stasis crystals and freeze nearby targets. So if we press R2, I'm on PlayStation, but if you press R2, you hold it to charge and you release. This weapon's charged projectiles create a pattern of stasis crystals on impact and freeze nearby targets. Again, we're playing into the let's freeze everything, let's lock everything down, whether we're doing it with our grenades, we're doing it with our melee, we're doing it with our heavy, whatever. And I've been having a lot of fun using this thing. And again, this is not going to be the insane, crazy boss damage heavy weapon. It's just not. But you're dealing with like rows and rows and rows of ads. You can definitely lock everything down, freeze everything on the battlefield, clean it up for your teammates, and let them kind of just get easy kills as they're picking off all these frozen and slowed down enemies. With this build, I'm playing into Resilience, probably my #1 stat. Then you're going to want to go into Discipline. And lastly, I always pick Recovery. I like those three. I like Resilience, Discipline, Recovery. As far as the seasonal artifact, I'm playing into everything Stasis and everything Grenade Launcher with this. So you can go through Brain Freeze, Armor of Aramis, Hail the Storm, one with Frost, Wind Chill. We've got some, great Overload, Breach Load Grenade Launchers. I don't have that selected right now, but typically it would be. Rapid Impacts, Concussive Reload. So again, anything that's playing into Stasis and Grenade Launchers. I think both this season, it's leaning heavy into both of those. And this build kind of revolves around using your Grenade Launchers, your Stasis, playing into Frost Armor. Like I said, it's a lot of fun. Anyway, that's the basics of the build. I hope that you guys give it a try. Go ahead and pick up the Rime-Coat Raiment from Rahul in the tower. You guys have to make sure that you rank up fully with him. I think it's rank 16 or rank 17, and then he'll actually open up a brand new page at the end, which allows you to focus whatever piece of exotic armor you want for, I believe it's 1 exotic engram and 1 exotic cipher. So just go ahead and decrypt all of your exotic engrams until you're ranked up with them, and you can go ahead and pick up the Rime-Coat Raiment from him. And I hope that you guys give this build a try. Give me a like and subscribe down below, and leave a message in the comments if you try this and if you're enjoying it. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll talk soon. Peace.